GSmaniamsmart, and I'm in a brand new video for Gaming with GS. And today we're here, background footage is Guild Wars 2, but I'm going to be doing a Q&A session. We haven't had a Q&A session in a while now, and just answering a few questions. I wanted to make another video. In fact, I was supposed to do a video yesterday. I was going to do a Traveler's Tale video or one of the or the Arena guide, but quite frankly, I was just really busy yesterday with the holiday season coming in now, with me trying to finish up my editing job and the work there, my second job, trying to make sure everything's done before the holidays there too. So it's just been really hectic. So I do apologize that if you expected another video, the Q&A is what you're getting today. I'm also going to be taking the next 2 or 3 days off, so don't expect a video then. Hopefully you'll understand. I just really want to take 2 or 3 days off for the holidays, because I feel like I've been creating a ton of videos this year, and it's shown. We've really grown on this channel. So I thought, before Christmas comes, why don't I do a little Q&A that maybe you'll enjoy, hopefully enjoy. I always enjoy these Q&As. Unfortunately, I did not get any Patreon questions asked, even though we have like 7 or 8 Patreons. I guess they like the other perks more, so that was not really disappointing because I get questions. I just was hoping that maybe some Patreons would ask a question. Yeah, just a quick note, if you do want to become a Patreon, you can ask me any question on Patreon, and you'll be the first question to be answered. You won't have to wait in line. There are some questions I'm not gonna be able to answer today because I don't want the video to be super long. I think I picked like 10 or 12 questions out of the 30 that I have in my little Word document here that I tried to gather. So if you do want your question answered quicker, without having to wait, you can always donate to Patreon, at least $3 or more if you'd like. So let's go ahead and start with the first question. First question is from Divine Kataroshi, which asks, are you sure that refining materials into better ones is worth it? I want to try cleaning up some material storage, but I want to make sure I'm not just losing time and money here. Now, this is a question that was related to the last video that we did on basically getting more space on your account. And here's my answer to this. And the reason why I didn't answer this in the comments section is because, one, I didn't have time. There's a lot of comments I haven't replied to. So for those of you who are waiting a reply to your comment, apologies on that as well. There's a lot of comments that I haven't even answered yet, and I'm going to be going over that probably on Monday. So the reason why I didn't answer this one in the comments section specifically is because I think this is something that would apply to a lot of you, that I think is good information. The reason why I think that refining materials up to the next tier, such as if you have bolt scraps, if you have logs, if you have ore, it saves you space to upgrade them into the ingots, into the planks, into the bolts. Mainly because, like I said in the previous video, a lot of the recipes require the next tier, require the bolts, require the ingots, require the planks. If you go on the Guild Wars 2 wiki, and you can verify this, if you go into the Guild Wars 2 wiki and you type in Elderwood log, or you type in mithril ore, you type in jute scraps, you'll see that 95% of the recipes deal with the refined component, deal with the bolt, deal with the ingot, deal with the plank. There are very, very few recipes, and maybe if you're working on your guild hall, you may need the logs, but I think they also require planks. So very, very few recipes in the game actually require the base component, which is like just the log or the ore. So yes, you are saving yourself space. You are saving yourself time and money as well, because you can store more materials. With elder logs, for example, if you store 250 elder logs in your bank and then you can't store anymore, if you convert those 250 into planks, you then can store up to, technically, you can store 250 planks, right? And 3 times 250 is 750 logs. And then you can add another 250 of logs. You can store up to 1,000 elderwood logs into your bank if you refine these into the next component, which is the elderwood plank. So yes, it is okay to do that. Like I said, most of the recipes do require the refined component, so it's completely okay to do that. Next question we have is from By Jason. How did you find out your YouTube channel name? Now, this is a question that I'm pretty sure I've answered before. I think I have a video made out on my vlogging channel specifically about this question, so I won't go into too detail. But just to quickly answer your question, I was basically I was a moderator and one of the administrative moderators on GameSpot, which is basically the video game website. I think there was like a Final Fantasy forum there that I was moderating, and I was basically one of the news editors there as well. And I basically just wrote news stories about Final Fantasy, and I was moderating the forums. And at that point in time, that specific forum, the Final Fantasy forum, wanted to create podcasts, and nobody had a YouTube channel, nobody knew how to video edit. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and do the podcast on a YouTube channel. I'll create a YouTube channel, and I'll do some podcasts. And this was back when I was like, I don't know, maybe 15 years old, 16 years old. It was a long time ago. In fact, those podcasts are still up to this day. On this very day, they are still on my vlogging channel, and you can hear my voice sounds freaking terrible, trying to sound older. It's, oh my god, it's good memories, but I don't necessarily like the videos because I feel like I could have done a lot better job. And I mean, it was back when I was still a noob at editing, a noob at everything. But the story behind the name is that I was on GameSpot, so the forum was on GameSpot, and so that represented GS for GameSpot, and my username on the website was Smaniamsmart. And how that name came about, I was like 13, 14 years old. I was on GameSpot, and I had to download, I wanted to download a strategy guide, I wanted to download a wallpaper, and it said, oh, you needed to log in to download content from the site. So I was like, okay, I'll go make an account. I'm never going to use the account anyway, which you can pretty much tell that I did use the account later on. But I was like, I'm going to put some dumbass name that I'm never going to use again. So I just put Smaniamsmart because I didn't know what the hell to put. I didn't know what name to come up with. I didn't know what username. So I usually use Lord Arin for a username because Arin from Final Fantasy X, love that character. So a lot of times I use something with Arin in my username. But I guess back then I wasn't into it that much. So I used Smaniamsmart. I think it's a stupid name. But I put it. And then from that moment on, I stuck with the account. I found more uses on the website, and I started using the account more and more. And at one point, I wanted to change my name, but then I thought you can't change your name, so I had to make a whole new account. But if I made a whole new account, I had to restart everything. So I was basically stuck with the name. And then for my YouTube channel, where we upload the podcasts to, which is now my vlogging channel, it was GSmaniamsmart. That's why if you go on my vlogging channel, the name is GSmaniamsmart because GS stood for GameSpot, and Smaniamsmart stood for my username on GameSpot. So that's how I came up with, and then from there on, when I had separated the channels into vlogging, music, advice, tutorials, and gaming, I said, okay, we'll do gaming, we'll do tutorials, then we'll do with GS. Those were my initials, GS, because even though it stands for GameSpot, that's kind of what I did. So yes, I do at times wish I can change my name. At times I have considered changing it. You do have one free name change for your channels. I still have that on all my channels. I wanted to change it to something else with a website that I'm building, but gotta find the time of the day to do that. And so until for now, we're gonna keep this name, and I guess people are liking it. So, God, that was a really long answer. Sorry about that, but hopefully you didn't get too bored by the answer. Let's go move on to our next one. Next one we have is from Jesus Music, I think his name is, and asking, what is your major? So my major is actually computer science, software development. That's what I'm going to school for at the Florida International University. So I'm studying just coding, I'm studying software engineering, studying binary numbers, number data in computers, computer organization, data structure, stuff like that. Quite frankly, I like the content, I'm very interested in it, but I also feel like I have a really high interest in video editing and filmmaking. I wanted to do something in that field, but it's a very competitive field, and I just didn't really have the confidence to go into it, even though I've done acting stuff, I feel like it was just very competitive. Funnily enough, my second job deals with video editing. I'm video editing for a marketing company, for a strategic marketing company. So it's kind of strange how I'm doing a major for something that I like, but then for something that I also like, which I didn't have confidence doing, I now have a job in it. So I'm in a weird situation, but I'm definitely planning to finish the degree because it is a very profitable degree. Next question we have is from Retrospector. It says, hey GS, do you think that multi-loots are still viable? And multi-loots will always be viable until ArenaNet nerfs them. Currently, I'm guessing you're referring to the Auric Basin multi-loot, and yes, that is by far one of the most profitable ways to make gold right now. They did come out, and if you didn't hear about it, they did come out with a statement. Michael Bryan did come out with a statement that said that they're trying to deal with the Auric Basin multi-loot because they want to give people diversity in farming, they also want to bring a leather farm. I don't know if you watched the video in the past. I made a video one time talking about the leather farm they're trying to make. I think it might have been the most recent AMA. But he said that they're trying to come up with a leather farm, and for that to be profitable, they need to nerf Arc Basin loot. So yes, multi-loots currently are still viable, but I do think that, I think they'll always be viable. But the question is, will they be the top profit? Right now, Arc Basin is. Maybe in the future, Arc Basin it won't be the most profitable one. Maybe the nerf that they're going to add to it. I think they already made small changes to it, but if they continuously nerf Arc Basin multi-loot, it won't be viable anymore. But currently, right now, it is viable and one of the best ways to make money. Next question is from Lilianea, I believe is how you pronounce it. And she asks, would you mind doing a video that's ranking all the gold methods in order of the most lucrative? That'll be great. Now the problem with that is, and the problem with making a list that defines the best gold making methods really comes down to what you like doing. If you don't like doing fractals, and even though fractals is very lucrative and very rewarding, a lot of people hate doing fractals. So for them, that's not really the best way to make gold. Because if you're not good at fractals, if you continuously die, then you're making less gold an hour than someone who's doing silver waste farming. In general, I would say that the best method, and I have a video on this as well. I have a video comparing the new Heart of Thorns maps, which will make some money. I would say the new Heart of Thorns maps and silver waste and fractals are the best ways to make gold right now. Silver waste has always been a great way to make gold because all you gotta do is run around and unlock boxes, and when you unlock boxes you get a ton of champion bags, a ton of loot, and you can make tons and tons of gold. So silver waste chest farming is still always great. And then we have Arc Basin multi-loot, which is always great. Dragon Stand, that's a really lucrative map as well. You get a lot of loot from that as well. There's a lot of fighting in it. You get a lot of champion bags. There's a lot of champion farming there as well. So I would say Dragon Stand, Arc Basin, Silver Waste chest farming, Fractals, which are really lucrative mainly because there's a lot of junk you get which you can sell for heaps of gold. Especially if you have the matrices to buy the keys instead of using the gold, you make even more money. So those are the few that I think are very profitable. Obviously, once again, like I said, if you're doing flipping on a trading post, that makes tons of gold. If you know how to flip on a trading post, if you know how to manipulate the trading post and use it to your advantage, that's the best way to make gold. The best way to make gold is the trading post, but you have to know how to use it. You have to know the techniques and the methods behind it. So we do have a video on that. There's a lot of videos I'm going to be talking about that I've done in the past. Usually I put a card on screen, but that takes way too much time to put it because the amount of videos I'm referencing this video with just, I don't think I can put as many cards in the video even. So if you hear me saying in this video, I have a video about that. Check the playlist. You know, just there's a search bar on my channel where you can type in. If you type in trading post flipping, you'll see the video. But like I was saying, we have a video on trading post flipping, and if you follow that video, you can make lots of gold. Trading post flipping is the best way to make gold because you get tons of it. However, you also need to have tons of gold too. So, and obviously, you know, using your real life money to buy gold is obviously the best way to make gold. But you have to have real life money to actually want to invest it in. So, there's that. But that's my answer to that question. Do Arc Basin, do Dragon Stand, do Fractals, do Silver Waste chest farming, and, you know, take advantage of the holiday seasons where Winter's Day and Halloween are coming along because you can get a lot of money off of the gifts. You can get a lot of money off of the trick-or-treat bags. And I would say those are the best ways to make gold, and there's no real list in what's more lucrative because it depends on how skillful you are at fractals, it depends on how skillful you are at trading on a trading post and flipping, and it depends on how fast you are in silver waste or if you have a good commander or not. So a lot of factors that are involved there, so it's kind of hard to rank them, but those are the best ways. Next question we have is from Zeke Levy. Do you think they will add a PvP deathmatch map like the old graveyard map? And I'm going to say no. I don't think they will ever add. Well, I think if they do add a deathmatch map, it will be for unranked play. Mainly because they don't like how deathmatch plays. Deathmatch is mainly focused about how much damage you do. How quickly you can zerg together and just take down the enemy team. Those matches tend to be very fast, especially if everyone focuses one target and you just wreck them. All the damage you put on them, there's not enough healing. If 5 people are hitting the same guy, no matter how much healing you have, no matter how much stability you have, unless you have vulnerability, which eventually wears off, you'll kill the guy. So it's not a very skillful match type. I don't think they want to encourage that type of gameplay where people just build straight up damage for these matches. I think it's a fun match. Don't get me wrong. A Graveyard was one of my favorite maps because it was just so fun to go on deathmatch killing spree. So they're fun matches, and I think they'll add it for unranked play in the future. But for it to ever be competitive, for it ever to be on the table and actually in production, I don't think we'll ever see it. I don't think we'll see it come back unless they have, unless they want to be nice and add a fun little map for unranked play. Then they'll probably do it. But seeing as that is not the focus right now, their focus is currently ranked play. I don't think we'll get it anytime soon, and I don't think they're gonna ever focus on deathmatch. I think they're gonna focus on conquest. I think they're gonna focus on a bit more strategic maps, a bit more maps focused around objectives, like the arena map. I forget the name of it now, but there's a lot of different elements, there's a lot of platforms, a lot of different ways of fighting on the map. They have different buffs around the map. So Stronghold also requires some strategy. So I think they'll create another Stronghold map before they create a deathmatch map for sure. Next question from Risen Arene. Hey GS, what's your favorite Fractal? My favorite Fractal I think has to be the uncategorized. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on Asura. I just like how that Fractal runs. It's not very long. It's not super short. It requires a lot of different things that you have to accomplish. You have to learn how to CC. You have to learn how to break the break bar. You have to learn how to work together with the fan and killing that big golem that shoots projectiles. You have to Ellies can summon their summons to block some of the projectiles. I think this Fractal does a really good job. Even there's a lot of different utility skills you need, such as reflects, such as, like I said, the elementals that you can summon. You need healing. You need lots of damage, and then there are even parts that mechanically you have to get around, like the little lightning things that roll down the stairs. You have to dodge through them, and 3 people have to get to the top of it. And then they have jumping puzzles in there. You have to jump through the little jumping puzzle. And there's a lot of elements in this Fractal that require the player to know a lot of different things, and I think that's what Fractals is about. Fractals is one up from dungeons. I think dungeons are. I've always thought dungeons were harder than Fractals, but now I think dungeons are a bit easier than Fractals. I always think that Fractals are one up from dungeons, and dungeons mainly focus about DPS. Fractals require a bit more than just DPS. They require some jumping puzzles. They require some puzzles to solve. They require some knowledge of different skills, of different builds. So I think the uncategorized Fractal does a really good job at that, and that's my favorite. I always love doing that one. Next question we have from Laura the Flower Girl, which very familiar name. I think you've asked a question in the most recent Q&A, haven't you? I think it says, "Hey GS, what are you getting for Christmas?" I'm getting a new bed for my room because me and Ariana need a bigger bed. I also got my new laptop, so I have a new laptop which makes editing so much quicker. I can render videos now so much faster than my old laptop. I can have multiple Adobe programs open without it lagging. I can have Photoshop open, Premiere Pro open, Audition open, After Effects open, and I can do multiple things at once. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, so I can be working on multiple projects at once, and it makes it really easy for me to get work done. Sadly, it has a dual core processor. I wish I had a quad-core processor because I still have a hard time recording videos, especially gameplay videos. I can run Guild Wars 2 at high graphics now, but most of the time for recording, I have to stay to medium because I don't have enough CPU power or enough cores to actually have OBS running and Guild Wars 2 running. So maybe I have to use a different recorder. I'm not sure. I feel like my other laptop recorded better because it was a quad-core. But I have way more RAM, I have a way better CPU, I have a way better graphics card, I have so much more space on this computer, I have a 17-inch monitor, so this is really, it's a huge upgrade for me, especially from the Intel HD graphics card. I now have an AMD R9, I think, or something like that, so it's a lot better. But other than that, I mean, I did pay a portion of that for my own money. Other than that, I'm not really getting much else from Christmas. I'm mainly focusing on giving to people. I feel like And as I've grown older, I've worried a bit more about giving rather than receiving. I've worried a bit more about what am I gonna give rather than what am I gonna get. But a new laptop, a new bed, that's pretty much what I'm getting. I don't really want anything else. I think I pretty much have everything else I need, My girlfriend lives with me now. My YouTube channels are growing. I have a great community around this channel. I can talk to you guys. I'm doing giveaways. I think that's what I want for Christmas. Continuously growing and, having a good life. And that's what I guess I currently sort of have that. I mean, it could be better, but genuinely, I think I'm pretty happy. So that's that question. Next question we have is from Spy Girl, and she says, "Hey Jess, what do you think of dungeons? Now that no one does them anymore, I can't seem to find any parties." Now here's the thing with dungeons. Dungeons are active, but you have to make a party. If you don't make a party, if you don't put an LFG up, then you're never gonna find a party. People want to do dungeons, but they don't want to make an LFG, so it's weird. People want to do dungeons, but they don't want to make an LFG. I don't know if they're lazy to do it, they don't know how to do it. If they're discouraged to do it. But if you don't put an LFG, it's going to take a very long time for you to find a dungeon. If you make an LFG though, then you'll probably find some party members. I did dungeons like 2 weeks ago, and I found people without a problem. I think dungeons are active. I think people are playing dungeons, not as active as they used to were, but I think they are active mainly because there is a way to make gold around them. There is a daily achievement for making gold, and people love to run dungeons because they're quick, they're easy, they know how to do them very fast. All it requires is some DPS, and you can get them done fairly quickly. So I think you really have to make a party on LFG. So my thoughts on dungeons, that they are old content. I wish they would revamp them, but we know that ArenaNet's not going to revamp them, mainly because they already told us they're not going to, because of all the old code that they have, a lot of the old technology, and it just take a lot more time. It'll take so much effort to upgrade everything to new code, to new technology. So they're just going to keep the old content there. Like I said in a previous video, dungeons are probably just going to be one of those things that are in the background that won't ever be paid attention to anymore. Unless they create a brand new dungeon, then they'll probably have new technology in there and a new code. But my thoughts on dungeons is that they're still profitable. They're not the best way to make gold, but they are still profitable. They are still fun to do. There are still people playing it, but you really have to make a party. Next question we have is from Pokey Beast that says, "Hey GS, do you like to read? What do you read?" I'll be honest with you, I like to read. I used to read a lot of fantasy books, sci-fi books, mystery books. I used to read lots of Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Some of the more classic English literature books I used to like to read as well. But quite frankly, I just don't have the time to read anymore. I'm telling you, if I'm not editing, if I'm not creating a video, if I'm not recording for YouTube, if I'm not doing something for my job, which requires me to do some design, work in Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, if I'm not doing any of that, then literally I'm either sleeping, I'm either eating, I'm spending time with my girlfriend, going out with the family somewhere. I just don't have a lot of time to read anymore, as much as I'd like to. And reading brings knowledge. I always say this: reading brings knowledge, and if you read a lot, you'll learn a lot. Doesn't matter what you read, you'll learn new words, new vocabulary, you'll learn new ways of thinking, new perspectives. So reading is a great thing to do. I just honestly don't have time for it, but I do like it. Next question we have is from Ronan Art. Says, "Hey GS, what do you think about some of the NPCs around the world? Will their lore ever be expanded on? I hear the same old lines every time in different cities." I completely agree with you. I spent a lot of time in Radasum. I spent a lot of time in Lion's Arch. I'm sure a lot of you spend a lot of time in Lion's Arch. And when you're near the bank, there's always this NPC that talks about like a poem or whatever. In the Grove on Reddit, a few weeks ago, there was someone who brought up a person in the Grove who wanted to join, I think, the Nightmare Court, and they never really, for the past 3 years in Guild Wars 2, they've had the same dialogue. Something with the Nightmare Court, I believe it was. In Radasum, you hear the same old lines. One line that I hear specifically always is, "What happens if there's a golem uprise?" And then one of the NPCs says, "Well, then we'll have to worship our new golems, or we'll basically die," or something like that. And you're totally right. After 3-4 years in this game being up, you'd think, will the dialogue ever change? This is a living world story game, so shouldn't the dialogue change? Shouldn't we get some, progress on some of these people in the cities? And, I completely agree with you. I would love to have some progress on the lore. I would love to have some progress with some of these characters that we have in the cities. And maybe Arena should focus on these things, you know. It'd be great to see different NPCs, you know, grow and have some character development and progress the story. I mean, just because it's a living world, a season game, doesn't mean we can't have a living world around some NPCs, you know. That'd be such a great little thing. I think it'd be also very unique because a lot of other MMO games don't really have that. They don't have a living world. And if they do, it doesn't revolve around NPCs, you know. A lot of times, if I log on EverQuest 2 today, and I guarantee you, if I log on EverQuest 2 today, I'll see the same NPC that I saw 6 years ago standing in front of Blackburrow, telling me that, oh, there's something going on in Blackburrow. You have to go and kill the gnolls and the trolls and or whoever the hell was in Blackburrow. So, yeah, it'd be great to see it, but quite frankly, I don't know if ArenaNet will put the time and effort into just developing a few NPCs that, granted, a lot of people won't pay attention to. I mean, a lot of people don't really read all the dialogue in the game, so maybe ArenaNet will think, oh, it's more work and more effort than it is actually worth because a lot of people won't pay attention to it anyway. So if people pay more attention to it, then maybe they'll do it. But as it stands, I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to it, and I don't think they're ever gonna change that because a lot of other games aren't changing it either. It'd be really cool if they did though, and it would make them stand out as they're already standing out with a lot of other elements in the game. But who knows if they'll ever do it? Great question though, a really good question, and I would love to see that happen. And the last few questions, well, last couple of questions from the same person. They made a huge post with 2 questions in it, so we'll answer both of them. Is from Mally Schmeeker, I think your name is. And this person asks, is there any serious reason to buy Coda's Flame Mastery? Skills are marginally useful, they cost Unbound Magic, and which is most important to me, I have to spend 3 Mastery points on it. And I don't really want to do it. And yes, I get achievement points, which I don't care about either, approaching 19k already. Do I miss something, or is it simply a mastery point sink? Interesting question, and this is something that concerns me in the future as well. Personally, I bought all the Coda Flame skills. Why? Because I thought they would be needed for special parts of the map. I thought, okay, you know how we had gliding, right? We had gliding. And to get to certain areas and certain maps, you needed to have the last level of gliding, leyline gliding. And I thought, okay, well, they do have Coda's Flame here. Maybe I'll need some of the skills to get to certain areas in the map. And that would have been so cool if they did. Like, when I saw Coda's Flame, the first thing that came into my mind was Final Fantasy IX, when you're in the Ice Cavern, when Vivi uses his fire magic to break down some of the doors in the Ice Cavern so you can get some of the treasure and some of the loot there. I thought that they would have some of that, and they do have some of that. They have Coda's Flame, and you can use it to basically what's it called? And you can use it to basically unfreeze some of the chests around the area. However, you're talking about, is the mastery point worth it? I think the mastery point is really only worth it. I think it only lets you buy the skills. I think you can unfreeze the chests without Coda's Flame. Let me check the wiki real quick. That's an interesting thing. I don't know if Coda's Flame is required to unfreeze. I don't think it is, because when we walked into the new map, we picked up Coda's Flame and we used it on the wall to get into the new area. So I don't think Coda's Flame is required to unfreeze the chests. I think Coda's Flame is only there to give you the opportunity to train some of these new skills. And if that's the case, then I would say it's a mastery sink and it isn't worth it. Because the skills, while they can do some good damage, they're not really useful anywhere on the map. You can't get to secret areas, you can't get to little areas that require you to use some of the skills. They don't really give you any huge buffs that will make you more powerful or will make you more efficient in farming the map or anything. I think they really, they missed an opportunity. I think they missed a huge opportunity to make Coda's Flame this cool mastery track that will allow you to get to special areas, will allow you to get extra loot, will allow you to, complete certain objectives or collections or be a bit more viable in the map. And I feel like a lot of people aren't buying these skills because they're not very useful. I was one of the poor souls who bought all the skills because I thought they'd be useful, and now I figure out they're not very useful. One of you did say in the comments section that they are good sources for damage, and I agree with you. They are. Some of these skills do a lot of damage, and some of them do allow you to run faster. But for the amount of unbound magic you need, I don't think it's worth it. And I completely agree with you. I think it's a mastery sink, and I think it could have this mastery track could have been worked with a lot better. They could have put a lot more effort into it, and I think if they did, it could have been a lot more useful, and the skills could have been a lot more useful. It could have interacted a bit more with the map, and that's one of the only That's one of the few complaints I have with the patch that I didn't really focus on in the patch review video because I didn't, have much experience with the skills. But now that I have experience with the skills, I don't think it's worth it. And you're right. If you want to have your own 3 mastery points, if you want to keep those 3 mastery points for something else, if you want to keep your unbound magic for something else, I think you should. I don't think it's worth it to use it on this new Kodos Flame because it's not fully. You don't need it. You don't necessarily need it. So yeah, I'm not sure if you need it to advance the story though. Maybe you do need it to advance the story. So I'm not sure. I had the mastery track very early on, so I never ran into a wall. But yeah. And the second question is, which of these 3 new maps do you like most? Personally, I like them all. They bring something new to the game, but Bloodstone Fen is still my favorite. Frostbite being second and Ember Bay the last. And don't get me wrong, Ember Bay is a very good map. I enjoy it too, but I have better times in Bloodstone Fen. Maybe it's because of these aerial skills and lots of flying in general. I'm not sure about it. I personally like, and you'll be surprised about this, that you ranked Ember Bay as last. I like Ember Bay the most. I did like Bitterfrost Frontier the most, but after seeing all the flaws in it, after seeing that Koda's flame skills weren't really useful, after seeing that there's no real reason to go back to it, after seeing that the cooking recipes for the winter berries weren't sellable on a trading post, after seeing that there wasn't really anything cool in the bitter cold that made you want to go back to the map, I find myself going back to Ember Bay very often. And I don't know if it's because I needed the Ascended Earring. Now I have the Ascended Accessory. I needed one more Ascended Accessory to complete my Ascended set. Now I have a complete Ascended set with Berserker stats for my Ellie. And Ember Bay was the only map that had an Ascended Accessory. So I spent a lot of time at Ember Bay to farm for those Petrified Wood and to farm for Unbound Magic. But I feel like Ember Bay did such a good job. Like their little ley line highway that they have works very well. A lot of the events are very fun to do. The hearts are easy and fun to do. The way the map looks is just beautifully done. I just really like Ember Bay. I like how that map plays. That's my favorite map. Personally, I thought Bloodstone Fen is my least favorite because I don't like how it looks. The events are not very interesting. I mean, there's one huge giant event at the bottom of the map, which I really like. I like that event. But the other events, I don't really like that much. And I think if you're into lore, you'll like Bloodstone Fen a lot more. So maybe for those who like lore, you'll learn a lot in Bloodstone Fen because they did a really good job with some of the journal pages. I think that was a map that had journal pages. So I think that's a positive note. But I don't like how the map looks. I don't like how the map feels. I don't like that they have like 3 different levels. I'm a traditional maps type of guy. I like the flat maps. I like the maps that have huge tall mountains. That's why I like Bitterfrost Frontier a lot. And I like Ember Bay a lot because they don't have like an underground level. They don't have a level that's all above in the sky. I like the traditional old maps. So maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I love those traditional flat maps that have huge mountains that you can climb on top of, like Skyrim. I love Skyrim maps. So I love Ember Bay. Bitterfrost Frontier second. Bloodstone Fen last. I do like the Bloodstone Fen aerial mechanics though. Those Bloodstone Fen mechanics in the aerial gliding are really fun to use. So I do agree with you on there. Those are really cool to use. But that was the last question. Those are all the questions we have today. I think this video is very long already. Let me check Audition to see how long we're at already. Oh wow, we're past 30 minutes. So I think I'll end it right there. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the community and watching my videos and supporting me. It's been a great year. We've grown a lot this year. And hopefully you guys are having a good holiday season, a good Christmas, a good Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate. Hopefully you're having a good one. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you want to check out other videos, we have plenty of other Guild Wars 2 videos on the channel. More Q&A sessions we've done already, more coming. We currently have a giveaway going on, which is ending tomorrow. So if you haven't joined that, go ahead and join that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. Plenty of other Guild Wars 2 content on the channel. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching as always, and if you want to check out the vlogging channel, the advice channel, the tutorials channel, or the music channel, links are in the description as well as in the end screen. And I'll see you guys next time. This is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.